Hello, how are you? So it's the 29th February and we know that we don't get this date very often. Anyway, for next month, and by next month I mean tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the 1st of March. I actually have some really lofty goals when it comes to reading. I know that I read really slowly, but for whatever reason, I do feel a little bit more optimistic today. I feel a little bit more positive than usual. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's related to my mood swings, but really, I feel optimistic, and of course I'm gonna seize the opportunity to make some really big goals for myself that I'm probably not gonna be able to achieve, but still, it's good to have goals in life. Yeah. Anyway, I actually have some books that I already chose to read in March, and this is kind of like my plan, a mix of different books that I got from my TBR stack. So right now I have about like 60 plus or 70 plus, no, 60 plus books that I've not read, and I am working on reducing that number. Oh, and by the way, I also set myself on a period of abstinence from book buying because apparently, I want to see if I can do that. Usually it's really difficult to resist the temptation to buy new books, and I do have a little bit of issues when it comes to going to the bookstore and trying not to give my cash in exchange for a book or a few books. So last month I told myself that okay, I'm not gonna buy books for 2 months. I'm just gonna give myself a period, a testing period of 2 months and see whether I can do that or not. And right now I am actually experiencing the effects of the withdrawal. So yeah, God help me. Anyway, the abstinence period is going to last until the first of the second week of March. I'm not sure. It's about 9 or 8 March, like that. I just set an arbitrary date for myself. So I think 9th March would be an appropriate time to finish my period of fasting. And it's also quite unfortunate that at this time there is a new bookstore opening in Johor Bahru, which is a big shame because they have promotions during their opening time, and it's Book Access, which is one of my most favorite bookshops in Malaysia because they sell remaindered books, and I always like cheap books. I mean, because who doesn't like cheap books? They just opened in Johor Bahru, but sadly I won't be able to buy any new books, so I'm just probably gonna explore that store, I don't know, after my abstinence period. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of anxious and palpitations all over. Anyway, enough of the rambling. I am going to start talking about the books that I'm gonna read next month. Currently, I'm actually reading this book by Jeffrey Eugenides. It's called Middlesex, and it's about the main character is an intersex person, and I guess that's all I can say about it because I've not read much into this book. I've only gotten until page 126 out of 580 something. So far it has been quite interesting. I really like the story. I like the writing style. It's quite comedic at times, but there are some pages in the beginning of this book that is quite a little bit violent, a little bit shocking, but still overall it's nice so far. I really like this book. Pretty nice read. And the next book that I've also started reading is The Help by Kathryn Stockett. I've read one chapter of this book, and I think that the writing is quite accessible. I think it's really interesting. It compels me to read further. Lots of dialogues. I really like dialogues. So the book is so the story is set in 1960s in America, and we have characters who are African American and white American. You know how it's like, this whole racial dynamics that went on at that time. So I think it's gonna be a compelling read. I'm curious and I'm excited. And now moving on to books that I have not actually touched but kind of plan to read. The first one is Crossing to Safety by Wallace Stegner. I've never really heard about this author and I've not learned much about him, but I think he's kind of a big deal. I actually saw this book from a sale. It was cheap, so there was no reason not to get it. I read a bit of the blurb. I'm not really sure what the book is going to be about, but the stuff that I got from the blurb are like, the keywords, two couples, love, friendship, and I'm just like, love and friendship, okay. I just have to read it. I don't think it's going to be something that is like overly dramatic. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So, but that's kind of like my expectation, something that is a little bit subdued. But then again, we'll see how it's going to be. If you have read this novel, perhaps you can shed some light, but no spoilers, please. If you have read this novel, you can probably drop me a hint whether my expectations are gonna be correct or not. Those themes are the stuff that I really like in a novel. I find that I am moved by those themes really easily, especially these days when I tear up easily reading a story or watching a movie. I'm not sure. I was never like that when I was a kid, so I don't know. Maybe it's something about growing older. I don't know. So the next one that I'm going to read is Shansa, the girl who played Go. Now this book was the book that I bought from an online shop that sells secondhand books, and as you can see, the pages are really yellow, and it's kind of like what I like about it because it looks like an old library book. I grew up going to the library with my parents, and this kind of stuff, this kind of paper quality reminds me of those really old library books. But then it doesn't really have that smell anymore because it was in my room for quite a while. So things that are in my room kind of lost their bookish smell, I guess. None of my books have that smell anymore, so it's a shame. Anyway, this book was originally written in French. Ashansa is a French Chinese author, and it's a war fiction. And usually with war fiction, the ones that I've read, they are really, the emotions are really strong and effusive, and I think this one is probably going to be like that as well. I never really talk about the specific things that I like in novels, but I do find myself reading a lot of war fiction. According to the blurb, this book is going to be about a girl who plays Go and a soldier. So we are probably going to see some interactions, at least between these two characters. The next book that I want to read in March is Umberto Eco. It's called Numero 0, and this is also another book that I got from Book Access, really cheap. I got this at less than 20 ringgit, which was awesome because it's hardcover, and I don't really have a lot of hardcovers. I usually have I have mostly paperbacks. So this book is gonna be a thriller. I think a lot of people know who Umberto Eco is, except for me, because this is gonna be like my first book of his. Anyway, I'm going to explore more of this and see whether I like his style or not. I actually don't have a lot of hardcovers. Mostly I have paperbacks, and I like paperbacks because you can read them anywhere. It's really flexible. You can read them. I can read them at the kitchen, at the living room, at the toilet. It's really fun. You can read paperbacks on on your bed, and then maybe you'll leave them on your bed, and the next time when you jump onto your bed, you're probably not gonna hurt yourself the way a hardcover would. A hardcover would be like really dangerous if you absent-mindedly leave them on your bed, and it kind of happened to me a few times before, and it's like one of those really tangible hazard that you have to pay attention to, because I get hurt by my hardcovers book a lot. But then again, hardcovers are like one of those things that makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really posh, I'm so stylish. I feel so stylish reading hardcovers. I feel like a posh reader, and I can do things. I would probably imagine myself reading like this. Then again, that imagery does not really work when you're like, you know, really sweaty like me. So as you can see, I'm getting really sweaty right here. It's kind of warm in my room right now, so I feel like going out. But you know, let's just finish this video. And of course, sometimes I would want to feel accomplished, and you know, I feel the most accomplished when I finish a book. But you know, sometimes the book that you're reading is so damn long that you know, you just cannot reach that point of accomplishment when you finish a book. But of course, you can always solve that with one easy method, and one method that I use is reading a short book, or in my case I already set myself to read 2 short books. So the first one is Albert Camus. This one is called The Outsider, and I think it is really well known. A lot of people know about this one, and it's a tiny book, so I think I can probably finish this book in like 1 day. I am not sure if I'm gonna have that time, but let's see how things goes. You know, that kind of happened to me with Baba Dunia's Last Love before. I was able to finish it in 1 day. Maybe I'm gonna be able to do the same thing with this book as well, and you know, feel good about myself. And another one that I'm going to read also is Milan Kundera's The Festival of Insignificance. This is gonna be the second book that I've read from him. It's gonna be a smaller book compared to The Unbearable Lightness of Being. That one was quite an awesome book. I really like the character development in that one. I'm not sure how this book is gonna be like. The blurb is not really helpful in here because it says nothing about the content of this book. So let's just see what's gonna happen. Again, I think I'll probably be able to finish this book in like, I don't know, hopefully 1 day or 2 days. So yeah, good luck to me. So as you might have noticed, it's getting a little bit darker in here. I have not switched on the light. It's actually about 6 p.m. in Malaysia right now, so of course it makes sense it's gonna get darker. But I think it's, you know, I guess it's also the time to end this video, because at the same time, I'm like a sweaty pig right now. I'm just gonna get out, okay? It's like really hot in here, so bye-bye.